Hey, I want to take a little bit of time to talk about why and how I adjusted my coilovers for a better ride. So the Evo Bolton coilover kit is pretty awesome. It's pretty good out of the box. Everybody's ride's going to be a little bit different, and their Jeeps are going to be a little bit different. So I knew that when I bought this Jeep and it actually had the coilovers in it, I knew I would probably want to make some adjustments based on what I like to do off-road, what I like to do on-road, what felt good, what kind of weight I was going to carry, and all those things. So originally I had a front end, had 450 rate coilovers or springs on the bottom, and then 250 on top, and then it was 200 over 200 in the rear. Biggest things I ran into was I would bottom out like crazy when going fast off-road in the rear, and I already had a ton of preload, so I knew that I could balance some things out. So ultimately what I decided to do was go to 350 with 200 over in the rear, and then be able to cut my preload way down. And then in the front I went down to 400 and kept the 250 on top, as running the 392 is a lot heavier, and I thought that I wanted to lower the Jeep a little bit, but still keep a pretty good ride, because really when I would get moving in some of these rough roads, the front would soak up bumps like crazy, and like I said, the rear would bottom out. So I kind of wanted to find a good balance, but I also wanted to bring the Jeep down about 1.5 inches, and I did achieve that. So here you can see we're moving along pretty good. This felt pretty good, honestly. The front was soaking it up great. The back maybe seemed a little stiff, but I wasn't really carrying a lot of gear. And I also did not air down when I did this run, because I really wanted to feel what the suspension would do versus just that great effect you get from airing down your tires. So some of these spots through here I was going 30, 40, 45, 50 miles an hour, and really this is a good rough road, but it's not crazy. I was not hitting really heavy bumps, but it was taking it up pretty smooth. Definitely no bottoming out in the rear, which was awesome. I was super happy with it. A couple big bumps coming up here, and the Jeep just soaked it up like crazy and kept going. And I love this Jeep. Driving this Jeep is so fun. I mean, the capabilities that it has with its suspension, and obviously the 392's horsepower is just insane. So in a minute here, we're going to get a look at our coilover cycling. Got to work on getting something set up so we can see the rear springs too. I want to do a few adjustments on my timing ring still, but overall looks like it's functioning pretty well. Like I said, not a lot of huge hits. Kind of take off down the road here. Always fun to hit the gas, try to hit the hit bumps harder, see how your suspension does over different speeds. It's obviously going to feel different, whether you're going real fast and it's staying on top of some stuff, or it's really getting into the bottom every little bump. The coolest part about this is it's literally 5 minutes from my house, and I can be blasting on dirt. Ultimately, I chose a coilover setup because I like to go fast, and I want to have a good ride. And honestly, I think this ride's amazing on the road as well. It's a lot stiffer compared to your typical shock and coil setup. But I personally enjoy that feeling on the road. It feels a lot tighter, like a sports car. And off-road, it just performs. Again, Evo Manufacturing bolt-on coilover kit. I don't have long arms on here currently, which will help my ride out a little bit, especially at some of the speed in terms of, what I feel in the steering wheel. But ultimately, for now, it's an amazing setup, and I really enjoy where I've landed with my springs. So really love the ride. I'm going to cruise down the mountain here and make sure everything's dialed. But one thing happened to me. As I was coming up, I noticed this trail, and that itch to go roam just kind of took over. So I figured, why not? Don't really know where I'm going. Don't have my maps, but all roads lead to somewhere. So let's get on the path, go roam a little bit, see how the suspension works, see what else we can find. Right now, kind of a rocky road. I would not say this is by any stretch of the imagination rock crawling, but trail's getting a little tighter, going up some of the banks, hitting some of these things. The shocks are just soaking up all these rocks. It feels great. I'm probably doing 15-20 miles an hour through this tight space, and really feeling like the Jeep can push harder and harder if I wanted it to, but kind of enjoying the foliage as well as I roll down into these trees. Some of these banks and bumps, it was super fun to drive on. As I come out of the trees here, able to push it a little harder, feel some of these bigger kind of up and down, big curvy bumps. Not necessarily harsh hits for the suspension, but ultimately the Jeep feels super grounded. This suspension system is just awesome. Gives you so much more ability to move quickly through things, and really use the range of your suspension as you move through the terrain. Really found this super cool area in the trees here. You know, as I think about some of these places, I'm like, God, I would love to come back here and camp. So maybe I'll have to do that at some point, even though it's still fairly high up the mountain and we're heading into our winter season. But I'll have to keep this one on the back burner. Not much cell service up here either, so not really sure where things are on the map. I'll have to check that out as when I get home, kind of figure out where maybe I went. Working our way through the trees. Beautiful scenery this time of year. Came upon a little bed of rocks. Nothing extreme like the Rubicon, but hey, you know, we'll get out there and crawl a little bit whenever we can. As I continue down the path here, again, not really sure where I was headed. Got into a really tight spot here. Wasn't sure to go up or over. As I came around the corner here, you know, kind of coming out into this clear meadow, another kind of a neat landing area, but there was definitely a spot where some trails came together and wasn't quite sure which way to go, but figured, let's just go left, see what happens. This is kind of the adventure that I like to go on. Just kind of roam around and see what you can find, really. Which was pretty neat. Found a lot of cool trees and some different wooded areas on the backside of this essentially bare mountain, which was kind of neat to find here on the other side. This is probably one of my favorite things to do, just kind of go out and explore and be able to go places that, one, are far to walk, but two, you can't get to with a regular car. You know, you could get through this area with any four-wheel drive. Definitely some more challenging spots and some tighter areas for bigger vehicles, but you know, this is just scratches the surface of things that I like to do. You know, get out, explore, and that I would encourage you to do as well. I think it really helps free your mind. It you know, makes you feel connected with nature, kind of disconnects you a little bit too, which I think is really important. You know, I work a pretty heavy job, and being able to get away from a little bit here and there is pretty important. So continuing on here, we kind of keep coming to all these other meadows, and honestly I didn't have a clue where I was going. There were two other turns that come up after this, that one took me to an empty place where I had to wrap around, which was also kind of another cool campsite. But you know, I knew there's a road way off by that mountain out there that goes through, and you can access a built-up campground. I've camped up there before, but I didn't know really that this would connect or not. I was just kind of taking a guess, and really as I came down through the backside here, there were some pretty awesome spots that I absolutely am going to come back to camp to soon. As you can see, there's some people out there right now, but these are just amazing. And Wasn't quite sure where this was going to dump me out. I had a feeling that I was moving a little more north west from where I started, and ultimately I had a pretty good idea, but I was definitely lost. I have Onyx off-road. I did not expect to go on this off-road adventure today, but that was the kind of the cool part of having time and the ability to, right? You can decide to make that right turn and just keep going and keep picking turns. And I'll be the first to tell, I always believe a road's going to lead to somewhere, and worst case I could always turn around and went back the way I came, but ultimately I did get lost today, and that was kind of fun, right? It's kind of fun to get out there and hit some trails and go out and have a good time. And at the end of the day, being out disconnected is better than being at work. So having a good day out in the trail is always fun, and really wondering whether or not you're gonna get to where you want to go. I wasn't worried about fuel, but I did tell my family I'd be home in a certain time, and maybe it took a little longer because I made a bunch of wrong turns, but at the end of the day everything was good. Just kind of working my way out here, and started to see a few things that I recognized as the trees dissipated, and sure enough I was able to run into the road that I actually thought I was going to run into, so maybe I do have a decent sense of direction. But all in all, great day up on the mountain, great day on the trail, and led to some great testing with the coilovers. I'm super happy with my spring rates. I think especially when I put the 10 on and a little more weight in the back with some gear, the rear is going to be perfect. It's going to soak up everything I want it to, as I do think it's a little bit stiff right now, but a little bit of weight and we're going to be right where we want to be. Really good reflection on the day. Great day to be on the trail. Amazing to have this in my backyard where I can just zoom out and let it rip a little bit. Traction control at 60 because there's so much power going to the wheels, but all in all, great day. Super happy to be out, and thanks for checking in and watching what we had to offer today.